Welcome to 5 Minute Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas. Joining me here in the studio is Joel Murphy with Baker Hughes. Joel, how are you doing?
Good. Hi. Yep.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So let's talk. You're not from Arizona or from Arkansas, based on your twang. So where are you from originally, and what you do in the Navy?
I was born and raised in a small town, Danville, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
it's about 40 minutes north of Boston.
Beautiful up there.
Yeah, it's beautiful in New England. So when I did 30 years in the Navy, I was a jet engine mechanic on multiple aircraft, mostly helicopters.
Yeah.
And then I got commissioned about my 22-year mark and rode out the rest of those 8 years as a chief of warrant officer.
Yeah.
Aviation maintenance officer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your service. I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, if you didn't do that, we couldn't do this for sure, especially during these crazy times on the globe.
Yeah.
So Baker Hughes, we've heard of it. Remind the audience, who is Baker Hughes and what do you guys do? Or what are you doing with Baker Hughes?
I'm the senior operations leader at Baker Hughes, a phenomenal global company in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
Multiple other things, but I work in the industrial energy and technology, oil and gas, pumps, valves, gears, right here in Jacksonville over off Normandy Boulevard by Cecil Field.
Yep.
So we run 4 product lines that support multiple customers nationally and internationally for oil platforms, nuclear platforms as well. And we have a quality assurance division. We do supply, shipping. So we support all of our customers. We're one of the biggest facilities for Baker Hughes for that department.
And have you been working there the whole time since you retired?
Yeah, I retired in November 22. I got hired on January 17th of 23, and then so about a year and 9 months now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, one of these figures out there is that 73% of veterans will change their first job within the first 3 years of being out of the military. And to me, that's kind of like, it's not a good product market fit because I don't think the veteran realizes what they want to do, and so they change jobs, or it wasn't a good fit with the company into the interview process. I tell folks like, hey, when they're interviewing you, you're interviewing them too, because you may not want to go work for them. So you want to consider that as you kind of put that equation. But you're in that 27%. You found a location you obviously enjoy.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't familiar being an aviation maintenance person. I really wasn't familiar with the oil and gas industry. Yeah. But the concepts are the same. When you talk about quality product, you talk about your customer delivery and just being out on the floor. We have quality, as you know. We have shipping and receiving in the military, so I was familiar with that. Yeah. But I like the team. Great leaders over there. We have several veterans in the Baker Hughes site over here. In fact, the hiring manager, John Wilbur, hired me. He was a former AD, just like myself. Oh, no kidding. I didn't know him, but he was looking for that military leadership. So the good point I want to make is that as a hiring manager, he was looking for a veteran or somebody who had that senior leadership kind of role, whether it was civilian or military. I just happened to be military. So he knew what my previous roles were in the military, being a master chief and being a warrant officer. And he needed that leadership on the floor. So I think it's important that companies, if they say they're going to, bring in veterans and they support veterans leadership and they see how valuable it is, if you're really specific on what you're looking for, especially if it's a leadership role. I mean, I got project managers and procurement source in that school, but if you're looking for a leader on the floor, military has a lot of them, and they can be a great asset to their company. So it's been an honor, and I've been blessed to have the opportunity to work for such a great company.
That's a huge endorsement. I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's funny, when I was working for General Electric in my break-in service, I had to eventually ask my boss, like, why did you hire me? He's like, because he was a former Marine Harrier mechanic in the early 80s in the Marines, and he goes, I hired you not because your tangible skills, but your intangible skills, your leadership, your dependability, your initiative, all those things. And oh, by the way, he was in the headquarters in Atlanta, and I'm down here in Jacksonville. He goes, I need somebody that's going to take that initiative and be dependable when I'm not present. And I'm like, oh, I get it. So you see those things we learn in the military. Sometimes we take for granted. That just happens. Like, no, an employer's looking for that, and that's really important to their workforce.
Yeah, he knew what he was getting. That gentleman knew exactly what he was getting. Again, so it's
So for we're in a big Navy town here. Matter of fact, Clay County's got the 3rd highest density of per, I guess, ratio wise of veterans in the whole nation as a county. So for folks in the service that will separate eventually, or folks that are already out, what is your 1 or 2 bits of advice as they kind of take a look at for future civilian employment that they should consider that you either learned or you considered as you took your journey from retirement into the civilian market?
Well, I'd say if you know exactly what you want to do when you're going to exit the military and you have credentials, whether it's certificates or licenses or degrees, then go get that.
Okay.
If you don't know, which I really wasn't sure, I'd been working in aviation, I knew I could always fall back on that. Yeah. I went ahead and I got my degrees while I was in. So again, you don't know. Like you said, a lot of folks will get out and they don't know. But I always say, grab all the fruit off the tree, and I use that as hey, get whatever degrees you can get, a rank, whatever you can do to make yourself marketable. But more importantly, your reputation is gonna carry you through. And I mentioned it earlier with Mr. Simpson. Networking is huge.
It's gigantic, right?
So you have to network with folks, ask questions. LinkedIn is a great site where you can reach out to folks at certain companies and ask questions. Yeah. But also please use the services that are provided. Hiring Our Heroes. ACP, I had a mentor. I went through that whole process. The gentleman was actually, I think he was from Northrop Grumman, out in Washington. And he guided me. So I can't emphasize enough to please, if you're a veteran, you're about to retire and you're going to go through that transition, use those services. Yeah. Resume writing services, asking questions. It's immeasurable.
It's immeasurable. When I got out in 2000, I've said it on the show a couple times, like you went to the personnel office, signed for your DD-214. They said, thank you very much. And you left. I'm like, right now, there's so many people want to see you succeed. Reach out to them. So my own personal journey over the last year, I did 4-block, I did ACP, I did a few others here locally, and that's immeasurable. And to me, I mean, I had an idea what I want to do, but like I told my kids, nobody's going to turn you away because you got too much education. So educating yourself is really important in this space, and there's so many folks that want to see you succeed. Why would you not take advantage of it? And then I told guys also, like, they didn't find the job they were looking for. A lot of these nonprofits, you can still go use their services and go back through the programs, because it's not a one and done before you leave. They're there to help you out, and they want to see you succeed.
And I will say one thing is that I really didn't know what I was getting into. No, when you look at the civilian job roles and titles, they don't match exactly with the military. So when you look at project management, sourcing, quality, and all these different things, and SQEs, supply quality engineers, I didn't know. I applied for a lot of things, and I know that now. So you're going to walk in these things a little bit blindly. Right. I knew being an operations manager and operations leader that I would be successful after leading squadrons with hundreds of people and multiple aircraft. I knew that I could handle that. Yeah. But you're going to have to just test the waters and see what's out there. I have a better understanding now of what all these roles are. Yeah. So when I move on to a next role in the future, whatever that may be. Yeah.
And you're going to grow. And that's what I tell folks too. Like we say in the military, you're a lifelong learner. It doesn't end when you leave the service. No. Matter of fact, in some cases, I've tripled that since then, and that's huge. And it's funny. I'm glad you brought up Scott, because I met Scott at a local Bets on Tap event where we were just networking and talking, and then the ability to meet somebody local and have a conversation, and like, hey, did you consider this and that? That was extremely valuable to me as I was walking down my own personal journey to retirement.
And they know people, Oh my gosh, it's one big
Power Network's huge, and then the fact LinkedIn. I mean, I reached out to the folks, just said, hey, you got some time? I'm considering getting in this space. And they're like, absolutely, let's get on the schedule next week to do a 30-minute call. So people are very gracious with their time. They want to see you succeed. And that's huge.
So it's been a great process for me, going through the transition, retiring. Again, I think it's a blessing, but
awesome.
I got nothing bad to say.
Well, thanks, Joel. Yeah. We appreciate you coming. Thanks for your service to the nation. And thanks for what you're doing for our community.
Yeah, thank you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Hey, folks, like what you heard, please share with us, or please share. Connect with us on LinkedIn. We'll see our next segment. Live with Gratitude.